Good morning, Hank. Good morning, everybody. And welcome back to another episode of Kurtz, the first ever episode of Kurtz in the year 2024. It is the new year. Happy New Year. If you are unlike me, you may have made a resolution to eat healthier. You may have made a resolution to be healthier and get back into the gym, get back on your healthy habits. And if you're like me, you don't make resolutions. You just are really kind of sick of the bender you just went on from Halloween all the way to the new year of cookie, holiday foods, pies, desserts, mashed potatoes and hams and all that jazz that just, makes you want to get back onto your healthy habits and drop a couple LBs, count your calories, get back into the gym. So I'm going to help you accomplish that, whether you are or are not like me, by showing you how to make just a simple but classic chicken dinner that has a couple of twists on it that's going to help us stay lean, but savor all of the flavors at the same time. 2, break down a whole chicken. The bottom line here is you're gonna find every joint you possibly can and you're going to separate the joints. And I always like to start with the legs and the thighs here. So all you're gonna do is you're gonna kind of pull the leg away from the body and you're gonna find this webbing here and kind of work your knife all the way around this webbing into the joint and separate the leg from the bottom. All right, I'm gonna have to come up with a solution here. And work the knife away from the body. So there's our leg. Then we do the same with the other leg here. You're gonna kind of find this webbing. Just kind of work your knife around the thigh. Yeah, just kind of work your knife around the joints there. And there's our 2 legs, which we will continue to break down shortly. The next part is to do the wing. And the wings, I like to kind of like bend backwards and see if you can kind of, see if you can kind of break the joint. Let your knife do the work for you, just like that. There's one wing where the bones come together. And just like that, you've got your other wing, right? Not bad, not bad. And now what you're left with is the main torso, but you've got this back section here. And there's like hardly any meat at all on this back section here. And here's our breast, but there's a ton of beautiful meat there. So what I like to do is I like to stand it up like this, and I take my knife and I kind of just work my way down the center, and like I kind of look for the like neck cavity, the hole on the other side with my knife. And then, you're gonna have to use a little muscle if you have to. Whoop, just like that. Little bit of salmonella on the counter, that's okay. And what you're left with now is the breasts that are connected, and I lay that down flat. And I like to kind of just like stick my knife down the middle, find a section. There we go, come down, and split the breasts in 2. Get them nice and separated, and boom. There's your chicken breasts. And now I like to cut these in half. Kind of get a guide mark, force my knife down the center like that. And now you've got 2 smaller sections of breast that are going to cook similar, in evenness to the rest of the chicken. We're not done yet because we still have to separate our legs and thighs. So again, we've got our drums here. And so I like to start with the wings and the drums and the thighs. I like to kind of turn this V upwards. Again, you want to kind of like let the knife just kind of work its way in and naturally find the joint. We'll do the other leg. There's our thigh and our drum. And the wings, what you're gonna do with the wing is you're gonna take the tip off. This is a good lesson, right? Because if you're making party wings, for the Super Bowl or something, or just in general, you can buy a whole chicken wing and it costs way less than buying them pre-butchered. And these tips have they have no meat, but they have some wonderful tallow in them, which is great for our chicken stock. And again, you want to turn it like V-side up like this and kind of work your way through the webbing. Naturally find that joint, work your knife through. Then again, kind of V-side up. take the tip off, save that. Again, work your way down the center. That's a fully butchered chicken right there. What we got is our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-piece chicken. Chicken scraps, our so-called chicken scraps. I have added salt and pepper to them. I have broken them down just a little bit more. I just chopped my carcass in half, removed a hunk of skin off of the neck, salt and peppered into a 400-degree oven. We're not cooking them, we're just gonna get some color on them. So I don't know how much time, maybe like 15 minutes. We're gonna get some color on these bad boys. Meanwhile, while our chicken scraps are roasting, we are going to dry brine our chicken, which essentially just means drying out the skin of this chicken as much as possible to make it crispy. That's how you get nice crispy skin, is you dry out the skin as much as possible so that it doesn't like steam and kind of like bubble up while it's cooking. So you pat these dry and then you salt them and you let them soak or just kind of sit there in the fridge with salt for as long as you have available. Make sure you get both sides. Here it is. Here is our dinner, our chicken dinner, which will be put into the fridge to dry brine. My dog is saying hello. Our chicken scraps are roasting. It's been about 15 minutes. I actually decided to crank the heat up. I'm broiling it now for like a minute. What we're gonna do in the meantime is do a rough chop on our onion and our celery. I'm gonna add those to our crock pot. Rough chop to both. I've got like maybe half a teaspoon here of whole salt and peppercorns. Just drop those right in. Our chicken scraps have some beautiful color on them, and we got some beautiful drippings. Waste not. Use all of this stuff, man. Into the crock pot. Did you think we were gonna throw this out? No, we're not. Watch this. A little bit of water. Get all this good stuff scraped up. Mason jar. These are our drippings from our chicken scraps, right? Give it a little shake. Get the cap on nice and tight. Turn it upside down. And we're gonna put this in the fridge too. So, next step. You're gonna add a bunch of water to this. You just wanna get all this, nicely covered. So, we have the essence of our chicken stock here. We're gonna cook this in our crock pot for as long as we have available. A lot of people like to cook this overnight. The longer you cook it, the more the flavors develop. We're prepping this the morning of, so it's almost noon now. It's about like 11:30, and we're just gonna let this cook until dinner time. Probably crank it up to high. We're gonna cook it on low, and we're probably gonna crank it up to high about an hour before dinner time. We're just gonna let this cook. All right, so it's been a couple of hours, and I'm gonna add a roughly chopped carrot at this time. No, I'm just kidding. I forgot to buy a carrot, so we had to run out and buy a carrot. So make sure you add a carrot. Better late than never, right? All right, it's almost ready for dinner. I went ahead and cranked our crock pot up to high so we can really get that stock going. We're gonna get our veggies ready. We're gonna preheat our oven to 425 degrees. And we're gonna get things cooking here. We're gonna start by making some cauliflower, which we're going to make into cauliflower mash. And the basic rule that I do for this is I kind of cut this in half, and then I kind of just like wedge out the center of this and get, the biggest, most hardest part out of the cauliflower. And then you're basically just gonna cut up your cauliflower into little chunks here, You don't have to make them into crowns. We're just gonna steam these real good, and then mash them up. Cauliflower has such like a subtle, just like nothing flavor. It's so bland naturally, which is a good thing because then you can like basically flavor it to be anything you want, you know? And that's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna cook this, we're gonna steam this real good until it's really soft, like almost like overcooked basically. And then we're gonna put this in the food processor, process the crap out of it, get it to a mashed potatoes type consistency, add some seasoning and some wonderful stuff to it to make it taste almost like mashed potatoes. It's never gonna taste exactly like mashed potatoes, but we're basically gonna make these into a cauliflower mash, just like they're mashed potatoes, you know? So yeah. Some water, just enough to cover the bottom. I like to kind of like spray all over. I like to get the cauliflower nice and wet so as it cooks, you know, it steams and there's some water to heat up inside, you know, the cauliflower. So we're gonna cover it just like this, put it on the stove high and just let it roll. Just let it roll and boil. Peel your carrots. When I cut carrots, I like to cut them kind of like jaggedy, you know? There you go, some carrots. What we're gonna do now, we have our oven is preheated to 425 degrees. Our water for our cauliflower just came up to a boil. We're gonna turn it down and make sure we sustain that boil. We just don't want like a violent rolling boil. We're gonna season shortly our carrots. But what we're gonna do first is season our chicken the rest of the way here by taking them off of the trays. I like to cook almost everything on a raised rack on a tray, but I like to season it off of that tray because I don't like to have a bunch of seasoning fall through onto the tray and then burn while we cook it. So a little bit of chili powder, actually not a little bit of chili powder, a sizable amount of chili powder. Some paprika, some garlic powder. Go real easy on the garlic powder. And some poultry seasoning. Do not neglect the other side of these. We're gonna flip them around and do the other sides. I do like to make sure these go in the oven, skin side up though. Get them nice and crispy. As best as we did to make sure this cooks evenly, our chicken is not going to cook evenly, you know? Our wings are going to be done before the rest of our chicken is. So you have two options. Actually, you have three options. You can take the wings out when they get up to temperature, and you can set them off to the side. The second option is you can leave them in and just let them cook because wings are mostly skin and fat anyways. So even if you overcook the crap out of them, they're still not going to be terrible. And then the third option, which is my favorite, is you can take them out and you can snack on them while the rest of your chicken cooks. And that's my favorite option. So we'll probably do that to a certain extent today. So our chicken is now ready for the oven. We're gonna go ahead and put these bad boys in to our 425 degrees preheated oven. You know, we wanna get all of our chicken up to a good like 160 degrees before we take it out, because then it'll rise up to like 165, 170, which is the safe temperature for cooking chicken. We will put it in the oven and we'll check on it in about 20 minutes. See how we're doing in about 20 minutes. Probably gonna need about 45 minutes total to cook. I know I said I was doing dry January, but cooking with wine really doesn't count. So we're gonna put a little bit of white wine in these. Salt and pepper. Some paprika. A little chili powder. These bad boys nice and tasty. There we go. Some carrots. All right, our beautifully seasoned carrots are now ready for the oven. When we seasoned our chicken, we seasoned it with all the seasonings I mentioned, but we seasoned it with pepper and not salt. Reason being is because when we dry brined it, we put salt on it already. And if you season it again with salt, it's gonna end up to be too salty. So pepper, no salt when it comes to the final seasoning, just FYI. I'm gonna give the cauliflower a quick stir. It's been on there for a few minutes now. It's been about 20 minutes, so in a second we're gonna pull out our chicken, check the temperature, and if we like the way it's looking, we're also gonna flip it too. Our chicken's coming along beautifully. It's actually cooking faster than I thought. It's up to like 140 right now. Gonna check on it again in 10 minutes. For now, we can get started on our mash. Into the food processor we go with our cauliflower. Nice and easy. Let's try not to make too much of a mess. And since we're mashing it, don't be afraid to mash it a little bit. Just a little bit of fat-free cream cheese, splash of almond milk, maybe like a quarter cup. Salt, pepper, and that. A little more salt. That is our mash. Our healthy, low carb, low calorie mashed potato substitute. Checking on our chicken here. Yeah, the breasts are gonna take a little bit of time, but yeah, our the other pieces are looking good. These wings are probably done and can be snacked on at any time. Another like 5 minutes or so. I just took our roasted carrots out. Our roasted carrots are done. I put a little salt on them, and those should be good to go. Our mash, ready to be dumped out into a bowl to be served out from. Our wings are ready to be snacked on. Hey lady, you want a wing? All ready. This is also a way to know, are you doing it right? A little preview. I have cleaned our colander in our pot and am going to carefully. I have removed all of our chicken from the oven. Each piece is reading at least 160 degrees internal temperature. The last thing we're gonna do is let this rest and make, I guess we can't really call it a gravy because gravy is supposed to have like flour and butter and all the fats in it, and we're removing all of that. So let's just call it a sauce, right? We're gonna make like a chicken sauce to go with this. Do you remember this? We're going to gently unscrew the cap and release just the bottom of this, keeping the fat in the jar. And we have that left over. That's how you remove fat. So you're gonna use that. Just some lean drippings, cornstarch, literally just like a little, maybe like, what is that? A little over a teaspoon. And then ladle in some of our beautiful, beautiful chicken stock until, we get the consistency that we want after we introduce it to a little bit of heat on the stove. And so finally, after stirring vigorously for like 5 minutes or so on the stove, you should end up with, this nice like gravy type sauce. Should be nice and thick, like that. And now, the best part, by far, the best part of making a chicken dinner is eating a chicken dinner. Let us also, have a little bit of enjoyment while we, have our chicken dinner here. Cauliflower mash, our chicken, And get some of the beautiful carrots going too. And ladies and gentlemen, we have the Resolutioners chicken dinner before us. Let's go. Haley! Here comes the final test. Ready? This is, well, I mean, we already tested the chicken, right? But yeah, just go ahead and dig in.
I think it's good. You got some stuff on your face.
Mm-hmm. Fabulous chicken. We use like no oil. We use like no oil at all. We removed as much fat as possible. And the mashed potatoes, like, I just called them mashed potatoes. That's how much they fool you into making you think that they're mashed potatoes. It's a cauliflower mash. You try the mash yet?
I did, very good.
Ooh. With that lean gravy. Mmm. Smacks. Absolutely smacks. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. This is what you can make to get all the good tastes and feel good about doing it. Make the Resolutioners chicken dinner. Roast up some chicken, some carrots, mash up some cauliflower, make a delicious meal, feel good about it, hit the gym, get your protein fix in. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we've done it again. That's all I got for you. Thank you, and please come again.